Hello, friends. Today I want to talk to you about Andor. It's the TV show released by Disney set in the Star Wars universe that walks us through the beginnings of the Rebel Alliance, what it would become, how it all got started, who were the characters that sort of impelled it into motion. And we got to meet a lot of those people in this show. Really fantastic, enjoyable experience. I'm, of course, a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm a little easier to please than perhaps your non-Star Wars fan when it comes to this stuff, but I think there's something to enjoy for people here. I'm not sure if it quite stands up to how great and amazing The Mandalorian was in season one, but I think it is worthy to sit within the same milieu as that show. Um, so, what did I like about it? Well, I liked how grounded it felt, both in the way that it was presented and in the way the characters were presented. Great performances, great casting, but beyond all that, these characters felt like real people. They didn't have magic superpowers to get them out of problems. They either dealt with their problems or they didn't. And you got to see how that unfolded on the screen. And one character in particular really stood out to me because we got to see two very different parts of this character's life. And that's Mon Mothma. Why, though? Why did she stand out to me? Well, we had a chance to see what she did to promote the rebellion and what she had to deal with as a senator and as someone with a family, and how these things stood at odds with each other. And really, what I felt like we were watching was the slow, steady disintegration of her soul as we watched her compromise one for the other without the ability to be honest about it with herself or with others, and how painful that was to watch. So let's unpack this a little bit. I just said a lot. Integration. Let's create a useful rubric for what integration is. Well, what integration looks like to me is when you take two different parts of your life, you show them to each other, you let them be visible to each other and see how they connect, see how they can multiply and support each other. This sounds nice and easy on paper. It's pretty hard in my experience. Let's think of a very simple example about like, okay, let's say you're a growing up gamer, you have a family, you have a loving mother who loves to cook dinner for your family every night. Lucky you. And what unfolds is the classic gamer scenario of you're gaming, you're in a match, 30, 45-minute match, and the dinner bell rings. Your mom calls, it's time for dinner, honey. Come down and set the table. How do you deal with this? If you leave, you let down your crew. If you don't leave, you let down your family, choosing between one or the other. This is what Mon Mothma is doing all the time in this show. But for you, you're not actually in danger. Your life's not actually under threat. You're not going to be incarcerated for your choice. So you have some room to maneuver. You can make some choices. You can actually allow these parts of your life to integrate. You can tell your mom, hey, so if it's possible, um, this game that I play that I love, that I play with this crew and have such a great time with, the matches take about 30 to 45 minutes. So if you can give me a 45-minute warning before dinner, then I can make sure not to be busy when you call and I'll be able to be more responsive and get there more quickly. It's a benefit to the family and a benefit to you. You could also go from the other direction and say, hey, gamer crew, so I usually eat dinner between 5 and 6 at night. I can't play any matches during that time. And like, oh yeah, that's cool, no problem. Great. You've solved the problem. You've cut the Gordian knot. What you've done is found a solution that sits between the two parts of your life that lets them see each other and benefit you as a result. So this is kind of cool all by itself. Maybe this has been useful to you, but what's really cool is when the systematic act of allowing parts of yourself to integrate unfold over time and doors start opening, things you can't plan for. Maybe your family, who now understands your love for gaming, finds you a scholarship to study a gaming discipline at a university that you didn't know about. Maybe they're able to connect you with your cousin, who's a professional gamer or a semi professional gamer in the game that you love. Or maybe on some nights where dinner is just sitting in a crock pot, your mom says, hey, come get it whenever you're ready. Go have fun. You don't know what's going to unfold from allowing the parts of your life to connect, But you can be certain that if you never allow those parts of your life to connect, those things can't happen, or at least they're much less likely to. If you systematically pull apart parts of yourself, parts of your life, insulate them from each other, divide yourself, then what you do is you create a situation where the different parts of your life are in competition with each other. The part of you that's a gamer is in competition with the part of you that's in a family. And that's no good. What that means is usually one loses and one wins. And that's what we see with Mon Mothma, the opposite of integration, disintegration. A few scenes where this plays out with her. Um, First one I want to talk about is one where she's supposed to be taking her daughter Lita somewhere. It shows her entering like a dining room with her daughter and her husband, and the daughter is not at all interested in going anywhere with her mother. Lita looks at Mon Mothma and thinks to herself, "What are you manipulating me into doing?" She expects her mother to be using her, a teenage girl, for political advantage, to put on a show, to let everyone see that she's a mother. But the truth is, the truth her daughter knows, her mom is no mother. She's a senator, and maybe something she doesn't know about. Very, very cynical energy from the daughter to the mother. And the father, Perrin, he's in the room. He is not helping at all. He's also kind of sick of the Mothma shit. You can tell. At best, she's uptight and distant. At worst, they're not in love anymore, perhaps. Maybe they never were. Chandrilan marriage customs, I don't know exactly how they work, but there's no love lost between Mon Mothma and her husband, Perrin, very sadly. So that's one scene. Another scene, and it's one of the most clever scenes in the show, is one where Mon Mothma is in a cab with her husband, Perrin. They're going somewhere. She wants to discuss something with her husband, and she asks the cab driver, who we all know to be a spy, who she knows to be a spy. Her husband, I don't know if he knows or not. I think the implication is no. In any case, she asks for privacy from the driver. The driver, of course, says okay, but doesn't give her privacy. And she proceeds to call out her husband for gambling. "You're gambling again. I told you, not here. If you must do it off planet." His response, he denies it. "I did no such thing. Tell me who told you this. I'll explain to you why they're lying to you." But she won't. Truth is, no one told her this. She made it up. She's doing this whole thing for the benefit of the spying cab driver, to lay a false trail, to explain to the Imperial security, who the driver is connected with, an alternate explanation of where the hell her money has gone, because it is missing. Mon Mothma has been financing huge parts of the rebellion effort and using her family funds, her rich wealth of family funds, to do so, as a transaction that she couldn't close out, and it's causing her a problem. She's going to be investigated, and it's going to blow back on her very, very negatively. We don't know how exactly, but she knows it's going to hurt her and her ability to be a senator, to be a rebel, maybe to be a mother. Who knows? And she's acting to prevent that from happening. By doing this, she uses her husband. She pushes him further away. She promotes a lie that she knows to be a lie between the two of them, to consume her relationship with her husband in order to give something to herself as a rebel trying to fight for her life and her status. It is so cynical. It is so, so cynical. And when I'm watching this, I feel like I'm watching, like, it's almost like watching Voldemort create a Horcrux. She's doing something deliberate and terrible. And the truth is, with Voldemort, he was just a terrible, evil person. But with Mon Mothma, she's not an evil person, but she's living in evil times. And as a result, the evil enters into her, and she has to play the game the way it's made. Ugh, ugh. Really struck me watching this. The last example, Davos Golden. So this transaction is still a huge problem. Whether the false trail she laid works or not, she needs to actually close this thing out. She needs money and she needs it to just appear. Um, she connects with an old associate, someone named Tay, and he connects her with this underworld character, this criminal named Davos Skulden. Mon Mothma at first demurs and says, "No, I won't be seen with this criminal." But eventually she acquiesces. She allows this criminal to be seen visiting her on Coruscant. She allows her status to accrue to him, her legitimacy to accrue to him as a result. When he gets there, and the topic of the transaction, which is no problem, he's only too happy to help. What does he want for it? Does he want a percentage? Does he want a cut? Does he want a fee? No. No. Davo wants legitimacy. He wants a public visit between him and his son, and Mon Mothma and her daughter. Teenage boy, teenage girl. Chandrilan society. Let's connect these families. Not literally, but the implication is that it's down the line, something that he wants. Mon Mothma understands this. She's not stupid, but she has to go along with it. Because the part of her that's a rebel cannot overlook this opportunity. So she cashes in on her family in order to keep the spark of hope alive for the Rebel Alliance and for herself as a rebel. And watching this is just like hammer blow after hammer blow between the parts of her as a senator, as a wife, as a mother, and I feel like we're watching her disintegrate right before our very eyes. I don't know where Mon Mothma's story goes after season 1, but I was struck by this when watching, and I think it serves as a really valuable example of what it can look like when someone is in a situation that is dangerous enough that doing the right thing looks like this. And my hope is that everyone who's watching this video are in situations where they're not in danger and where they can take the steps of integrating the parts of themselves. They can afford the honesty with themselves that Mon Mothma cannot. Can allow the things that she's passionate about and her family and everything to connect and intermingle and support each other. This is a path that I've been on for a few years. And the more and more I do it, the more and more whole I feel, the more and more I feel like a rounded person who can go into any situation and be okay. And the opposite of that feels like death. I've been there, and I don't want it for anyone, especially for you. So that's really all I have to say. Thought I'd share. Um, if you enjoyed this video and this kind of discussion, drop me a like or a comment. If you want to see more, throw me a sub, why don't you? My socials are going to be in the description of this video, which includes a link to my LinkedIn. Again, integrating different parts of my life. You can dox me. Have fun. That's it, folks. As usual, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I'll catch you on the flip side.